Welcome back. Today, the goal is to make a Christmas tree. We are going to use the Sweet Boss base that is grayed out here currently because we don't have all the components yet that we need to go into making those. This can also be used to make to put threads on a screw, as well as to make handles for things like coffee cups and candlesticks. So the first thing we want to do is we need to make a helix. And before we can make a helix, to make our Christmas tree, we got to make a circle because that's what it expects as an input. So to do that, we want to sketch on the top plane. And we want to sketch a circle. So hit the sketch button, and then we're just going to sketch a circle. And even though we're not going to extrude this circle per se, we do need to have it be a real circle and not a for construction circle. So I'm going to mention that as 100. I'll start the Christmas tree out at 100 millimeters or 10 centimeters. So this is a giant Christmas tree, but it's a cute little Christmas tree. Okay, so we got that done. And now we want to make the helix. The helix tool is found up in the main menu. It's not really in any of the ribbons. We got to go to the main menu to do that. If your menu is compressed like mine is, so here we have the save buttons, but we need the actual full SOLIDWORKS menu. Go close to the SOLIDWORKS logo and open it up. As soon as you get over this triangle, it'll start to expand. So I want the insert menu. So again, insert, and then insert, curve, and then a helix or a spiral is what we want to insert. So if it asks you for a curve here, then go into the design tree in the drawing window and go ahead and select that. We're going to do this variable pitch thing. Yours probably looks like this with a constant pitch. And so this is a good time to change the start angle to 270 degrees if it's not already. And then clockwise or counterclockwise doesn't matter, but constant pitch is what you would want to put something on to put threads on a screw. But we're going to make it a little bit more interesting here. Use the variable pitch. There are 3 different options for variable pitch. You can select the pitch and revolution, height and revolution, and height and pitch. Practically, the height and pitch is actually going to be our easier option. We can drag this over to make this a little bit bigger. But H stands for height, P stands for pitch, and R for revolution. When I did this initially, I did height and revolutions, but practically when we're putting this in, I think it's going to be slightly easier to use the height and pitch. So we want it to start out at 100, and we want the pitch to be 33.33. And then 0 and 0. This full table is in the full directions as well as hopefully with the video on eLearn so that you can refer to it. Okay, the next one we want to do is now we want to start to taper it so we'll get narrower. And you see it getting narrower here in our drawing window. And so we want to get we want it to be at 75 when it gets up to 38 millimeters. Hopefully it takes that without a problem. And these pitch numbers are kind of funky because I specified the revolutions, not the pitch, but it seems to be easier to input these into the system if we go ahead and do it that way. So we'll just do it that way, even though the numbers aren't very round, they're kind of funky numbers. So here we go. Basically 1.5 revolutions. So a height of 38 and a pitch of 15.5 millimeters. Okay, now we have another line that we need to fill in. So we need to go to 50 millimeters. So get even skinnier yet. And that should be at a height of 66.6. And we're going to use a pitch of 18.05. And that gets us about 3 revolutions. So you can see that it looks fairly constant. We're a little wide there, so you can decrease the pitch if you want. We can try 25. So there's not perfect science to this. So I have 33.3 in the directions, but you can make adjustments. They're not perfect yet. Okay, the next height after 66 is 88.4. And I want that pitch to be 18.25. Whoops. I know. So 18.25. And this is 35 millimeters. Okay, so it looks like we're getting a relatively constant spiral over there. And then at 103.3 millimeters, I want the pitch to change to 19.12. And we want this to be 23 millimeters. Okay. 35, 23. Okay, took it now. Okay, so the next one's 125, and that window pops up saying that the pitch and height numbers don't make sense, so you need to select a value in between these two. So that's why I'm not using the height and revolution, because it gave me too many errors. It was all that's too fussy. This one is less fussy, so we're just going to go with that. No, so it's probably going to complain. Okay, so I guess I got to do it over again, because I hit the escape button instead. So curve, helix. Okay, height and pitch. So we're good to go. I just need to type in these numbers again. So first pitch is 33.3. Height is 38. 15.54. 75. This one is 66.6. 18.05. 50, not there. And here, let's get again. It usually works to get you out of something you don't want to be in, but so note to self, don't hit escape. 3, 38, 15.54, 50. Seems like it's working better typing the diameters first. 66.6. Pitch is 18.05. A new line, 88.4. 35. Pitch is 18.25. New line. That new line appears as soon as you get things filled in. 23 over there. Then 19.12. Then it'll be 11 millimeters. This is still going to be worth it once we get it all in. Then 140 is the maximum height of our tree, 8. And we want it to go down to 5 here. Okay, so we can move these kind of out of the way. You can see that looks like pretty much a roughly constant spiral in as we go up. Okay, so 270, that is everything. We're gonna hit the check mark, so we hopefully don't have to do it again. And if I switch now to the front view, come on, front, you can see a nicely shaped helix going up. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is tell it what profile. When we do hit our sweep, the kind of the default shape is a circle. It doesn't have to be a circle, so I'm going to go ahead and show you what it looks, how to do it so that it is not a circle. We can use any shape that we want. So to do that, we want to create a sketch at the very end of the helix here. So I'm going to sketch, but this time I'm going to do it on the front plane because that looks like it's going to be at the end of the helix, and open up a sketch. And I kind of want to zoom in on this whole area down here. And we're going to use this polygon tool for the first time to draw a hexagon. Okay, so, but first I want to make sure that I get it nicely referenced, that we get a line going across here as horizontal. And then I want a vertical line at that intersection. So you see that little yellow box tells me I am in fact at the intersection. And then we're going to use the polygon tool. How you use the polygon tool is you select the center. So again, that's going to be at the intersection there. And then I want to go straight up. I don't want to hit that yellow dot that says it's the center of that line. I want to select something that's not an arbitrary point, not a specific point. Okay, so I got that selected. And these polygons, you can change the number of sides. We're not going to do that because I kind of like the octagon. But I want to smart dimension it. So I hit one side, hold down the control button, hit the other side, and we only want that to be 4.5 millimeters, kind of tiny. Oh, but it moved on us. So we'll zoom out and make sure that we move it back to that intersection. Zoom out. So smart dimension into this to this. Okay. Or we just might need to smart dimension So the polygon from here to be 50, that should put it out at the end of my circle. Because we remember at the beginning we made 100mm diameter circle, so that should put it right at the end. Okay, and now for the moment we get to use the sweep tool. Okay, so we hit the sweep and it wants here the profile we want to use to sweep and the curve we want to follow. We could also just do a circular profile, which might have come up for you at the beginning. So I want to make sure that we have the sketch profile here selected. So we go into our design tree in our drawing window. Remember to expand it up here if it's not expanded. So the profile we want to follow is the hexagon, and the path we want to follow is that spiral. So now you can see that it nicely follows our spiral shape all the way up. And if we come out here, you can see the nice spiral going up. There are other options here. We're not really going to explore those at this point. So we just hit the check mark and we got a nice spiral. Now we want to kind of fill it in. So I got one spiral, but it's not really a filled in Christmas tree. So we're going to actually have 4 of these total. To do that, I need to do the circular pattern. But before I do the circular pattern, I need the reference geometry, which is hiding off to the side here. And I want to create an axis like we've done before. And so I want to have that be at the intersection of the front plane and the right plane to define that axis. And now I go ahead and here use my circular pattern to create 4 of these things using axis 1, and I want to pattern the sweep. So we get a whole bunch of helixes. And we hit check. Okay, that looks pretty nice. So I probably could have done something about these gaps, and we probably would have to if you wanted to print it. But we need to have the Christmas tree be green, right? So I'm going to pull that over to the pattern. So forth. Okay, so my program just completely froze when I did that. So we're going to try it again now that we got it reopened and back to the same place we were at, basically. Okay. Okay, so we can go ahead and pattern it either with selecting a material or one of these colors. So I'm going to hopefully drag the green over to the circular pattern. And now we have the gray stripe because these are 2 different features. So we can drag a different feature over there. We can make a nice yellow kind of garland around the tree, if you were to say. Okay, so that is a perfectly nice looking tree, but it still needs a star at the top. Doesn't need a star at the top. Totally needs a star at the top. So the star is going to be somewhat optional, well, optional, but we are going to put a star here at the top. So sketch, we want to sketch on the front plane. Let's get the front view. Go to the top, sketch on the front plane. Sketch, and we're going to sketch a star. So how do we sketch a nice star for a tree? We want to do kind of just a reference line. And then we don't really want it anywhere particular. So we do want it down to the origin. That's a good place for it. And then to sketch a really nice looking star, we want a circle on this thing. We don't want to dimension the circle, but we do want the circle to be for construction because we don't want a circle. We want a star. So our 5-pointed star has 5 points, obviously, but if we divide a circle into 5 points, then we get that there are 72 degrees between each of the points. And so that's what we're going to dimension. So from here to here, though, is going to be half of the 72 or 36 degrees. So we want to put that in. And then this one is going to be that full 72 degrees. 72 degrees. And then I'm just going to use the line tool to kind of sketch in the star. So we want to start out here somewhere. Go here, come in and out. And then what we're going to do is basically dimension all the lines so that they are the same length. And then we're just going to mirror them across. So for this size star, do 25 And 25. Looks like it's a little small, so I probably should dimension that circle to be a little bit bigger. I'm going to dimension this at 75. Okay, that's looking pretty good. Okay, smart dimension sky at 25. This guy at not straight though. We don't want it to come. We want the length to be saw, not. Okay. Got that one. And then final one we want to do 25. So that all looks about right. Pretty handsome looking star. And then we want to mirror it over. So mirror about this line, and we want to mirror all those lines. Have a nice, I guess, pretty big star at the end of this thing. And then we could dimension this to here. I didn't have smart deluxe. Oh, come on. Smart dimension the center of this thing. Should be able to find a point in here. We just have to go down to the bottom. We'll call that like 150. Move the star down. That star is like way too big. But anyway, I got a really big star. Okay, so then we want to then extrude it. And we want to extrude it 10 in both directions, so it's somewhat centered. Actually, not 10. Let's do 2 in each direction, so it's 4 wide total. You could also spin it, but a spun star looks kind of strange. Okay, so really big star. We don't want it to be gray though. We want it to be yellow. Okay, so there's our star right in the middle of our Christmas tree. It's kind of giant, but that's okay. So voila, Christmas tree with a star on it. Go ahead and save it. File save as tree. I think this is like my 10th tree, but anyway, so Merry Christmas.